Start recording. Okay, and we're back. Hey, so much easier when there is when there's another person here to help me, right? Thanks for joining me, everybody. Yes, Jonathan, thanks everybody for reminding me to start recording. We are definitely recording tonight, so thanks for joining me so much. I'm really excited to have everybody here. So I'm kind of like off my game right now because I've got like lights and stuff in front of me that I'm not used to being distracted by. My normal partner in crime is also not here. She's away, but she's in the comments, so I can't do anything too crazy. And we're trying out something else with this new... I've got the Rodecaster Pro that we got set up here, which is pretty exciting, and we're all excited for it, right? So now I've got all sorts of... I've now got all sorts of things to make sound effects and have silly fun times. So thanks for joining us, everybody, for the Pillars of Action. Super excited. I saw Bill Utah, Nikolai, Greenlight, Mark Catardo, Lisa E. Whoa, Chris. I can't even help myself. Bill Utah, the Tactical Traveler, C-Max. Thanks for joining me, everybody. So, hey, if this is your first time joining us, I'm the Everyday Dad. This is my weekly live stream / it's not a podcast. I almost said podcast, because eventually I'd like to get there, because now we've got, like, audio and audio recorders and stuff, right? So, oh, that is I thought that would be better. Hey, so apparently you can't just quickly rinse out grape flavoring. That's gross. So I'm excited. Hopefully everybody has a good... Yeah, Bill. Oh, Bill, I've got all sorts of stuff, and this is going to be like... Hold on, let me think of a good joke to say. And I'm not drinking your drinks, Wonder Wife. This is a drink that I found that was empty, and I figured I would reuse the... Okay, so Wonder Wife's not here, so she'll probably get over it by tomorrow, right? But she gets back tomorrow. So the Everyday Kid and I have been eating a fair amount of pizza, and with the pizza, to get it over the delivery, to get it to be a deliverable amount, I have to order the 2-liter. So instead of like going out and buying soda today because he's been sick, we did go see a movie, but that was kind of like the edge of his endurance. So instead of going out and buying it, I rinsed out one of her drink bottles and put in some Diet Coke, and it's gross because it's grape flavored Diet Coke now. Bill Utah, $4.99. Congratulations on 65,000. Which stadium we're going to fill? We're going to try to find a stadium, and we're going to gate crash it, and I'm probably going to get arrested. So let's not do that part. But thank you so much, Bill. I really appreciate it. Bill Utah, the official score counter for the Everyday Dad. He what was that sound? Did you guys just hear sound? I can't tell now if it's like the... Okay, either way. So thanks for joining me, everybody. Let's get started. So the first thing I like to do here on the live stream is I like to thank all of the new patrons. So if you'd like to become a patron, be a group of the awesome team that we've got building here, there will be links in the description below. Great coterie. That's right, the coterie, right? We got a great group of people, and in the last week, we've had a pretty big influx, which is really awesome. I really appreciate every single patron. But in the last week, we've got DJLSB Vapes joined us, Bull City Pictures, John McMillan, and Steve Carpenter. So the 4 of you, thank you so much. You guys legitimately rock. And I say this, and I don't mean it like, this is not meant ironically. Like, this is meant like straight up from like Gary, is that I love making the videos. I love having people see the videos, but there's just like something where you're able to like build a thing, and then people are like, I believe in that thing enough to like invest in it. And it blows me away every single time I look at it. I mean, the whole reason I did it is I got a lot of requests for people's like, hey, could you set up a Patreon? We'd like to invest in it. And it's like, wow, I can't believe people actually do. So to all of you, thank you so much. I cannot oversay how much I'm shocked. Like, I have no words for it. Generally, I always find words for like stuff to talk about, but here I'm legitimately shocked, and thank you to each of you. Okay, so you saw what the title of this is. It's time. Canon. What are you doing to me, Canon? So if you guys don't know, I love cameras. I've had about 1,000 cameras here on the channel. And I was super excited about the Canon RP that was announced last week. If you saw me on Twitter, I'm still gonna try it out. Very, very excited. Very excited about it, or I was very excited about it, and I was extolling its virtues and all the leaks that we saw. I was like, man, this could be it. This could be like a bigger brother to my M50. I'm excited, even if 4K crop, whatever. You know, I'm on I'm on a Micro Four Thirds GH5 right now. Crop is like my middle name. We're gonna crop factor. That's something that I'd like to change maybe we'll change the name of the live stream to that in the future, because look, I don't care about crops. This is a 25 millimeter lens that we're shooting at. It's 50 millimeter because you just get used to it. Like crops I don't know. It doesn't bother me in the slightest, but I was hoping to get cropped 4K with dual pixel autofocus. We didn't get that, like, at all. So it's basically like a bigger version of the M50. That was the deal breaker for me. I was willing, like, I don't know if you guys know this, but I shoot everything in 30 frames per second. I think 30 frames per second is like the superior of the frame rates. And I know as somebody that talks about cameras a lot, I get a lot of flack for that, because the 24 frames per second purists out there, look, if you guys like it, that's awesome. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion even when it's wrong. I'm kidding. BJW, $5 RP Canon. Hey, everyone join the Discord if you haven't yet. Hey, thank you so much. That was something else I was going to bring up. If you would like to, we also have like a Discord community now. We started that server, last week or something like that. A lot of awesome information out there. If you'd like to join, if one of the, whoa, Chris, since you're now a wrench holder on both, could you post the link? If you can, it's on my Twitter. I can't post links right now, and only wrench holders can post links in the channel here. So, yeah, the Discord, if you'd like to join, chat with us all times. That's where I'm, like, always chatting it up. And whoa, Chris and Photo Gear and BJ, we're all, like, we're chatting it up about this stuff. But, yeah, so Canon RP, that sucks. Like, again, the 24 frames per second versus 30 frames per second, I was willing, if they were going to give me 24 frames per second, 4K with dual pixel autofocus on the RP, I was going to pre-order it all day long. Having a budget-ish friendly, I can't, this is driving me crazy. So the audio's fine. I can't wear those anymore. So if the audio's bad, just like let me know in the comments, because I can't take those headsets anymore. But anyway, so the RP, I was like, okay, I will go against my better nature, and I will switch to 24 frames per second if you will just give me dual pixel autofocus. They said no. I'm like, okay, this is clearly not the camera for me. I'm not going to spend $1,200 on a camera to get 1080p in 2019. I mean, I do shoot some stuff in 1080p now. I'm not a 4K purist anymore, but I'm not going to spend that kind of money for 1080p in 2019. I'm sorry. If I'm going to spend over $1,000, I'm going to get something that can do 4K. If I use the 4K or not, that's a different conversation. But if it's going to cost that amount of money, like the Fuji X-T30 is something we can talk about here in a minute also. The audio's down a little bit. Here, we can bump it up. We'll bump it up 2 notches. There we go. That's so awesome that I love this thing. This thing is definitely value added. But so yeah, if I'm going to spend that kind of money, we're getting something with 4K. The X-T30 has amazing autofocus, downsampled 6K to 4K, Fuji's film simulations like that. I'm excited to try that one out too. But the RP, Canon broke my heart. But what's weird to me, we've already talked about the part that I'm personally, wounded about. What do you guys? So let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you can do like at the Everyday Dad. Normally my co-host monitors the chat. It's just me by myself, so I'm gonna try to. Hold on. Let's put this in a more prominent position so I can actually see it. Because if it's over there, I'm not gonna look at the chat. So, So what are your guys' like? What did you guys think about the RP? Like, I know it's gonna be a good camera for some people. Like, I'm not somebody that goes out and says, "Wow, it's terrible. Nobody will ever want to use it." Blah. I think most pieces of gear, there's somebody out there that wants a full frame camera that can do 1080p, and the RP will probably work out for them very well. Chase Nippa, is there a way to bypass 10-minute recording limit on my camera? You can use an external recorder. If it has it built into the camera, there's nothing you can do about it. But it just like, so still, if you're going to get a Canon camera, I'm still going to continue to recommend the M50. I'm not going to recommend the RP because it sounds weird, right? They basically do the same thing, but one has a full frame sensor. Well, it's half the cost though. Like the M50 can be had for a much cheaper cost. If you want, now here's going to be the kicker, because I have been trying out the 60 Mark II, and I actually kind of like the 60 Mark II, but it's basically like a DSLR version of the RP. So what am I complaining about? I don't know. I guess it's just that I had my personal hopes up and they were kind of dashed a little bit. If the RP can do the same like colors as the 60 Mark II, it'll be fine for somebody. The RF lenses are incredible, and they are one of the reasons if you want to if you want to look into one of these cameras, like, get those RF lenses are nothing to sneeze about. Like, Canon's getting ready to release a whole slew of like pro level cameras or pro level lenses for that. So like, it's gonna be good. So I can't, I don't know. Like, but I wanted 4K. I wanted dual pixel autofocus. Like, that's what I was most excited about. And they just kind of dashed my hopes. And I was like, you know what? I will let Canon, I'll give Canon another shot. Like, I'm never like a hater. I'm not any kind of brand hater. Like, I like all camera brands. Every camera company is doing something right these days. Like, whether it be Canon with their dual pixel autofocus, their colors and their flip screen, the GH5 or Lumix with their GH5, which is like just about the perfect camera. Nikon with their Z6 probably being the best video camera currently on the market today. In like a consumer level thing. Fuji with their X-T3, X-T30. Did I miss anybody? Blackmagic. I've never used a Blackmagic camera, so I guess I can't talk to them too much. But everybody's doing something right. Like, there's nothing that out there that's just like totally garbage. So I'm not a brand loyalist. I'm not a brand hater. I just want gear that works. And if you could have given me dual pixel autofocus on a full frame camera with 4K for $1,200, who could have touched that? Who, seriously? They'll still probably sell them by the boatloads. But who could have touched that? Yep. I'm checking the chats. I'm sorry. I'm trying to check the chat now. So if you'd also like to get your comment like boosted all the way up to the top so I can definitely see it, I send us a super chat like the two we had previously. But no, I don't know. Like, Canon, I want to like Canon. Like, I've had a C200, beautiful camera. It was just too big for me, so I ended up selling it. I had the I didn't have it. I had a loaner EOS R, and I really liked that for what it was. I don't know. So what I'm looking for, the GH5 is now my studio camera, period. Nothing's going to take the GH5 from that, mainly because of this thing right here. If I don't break it, if I break it, that will stink. Like, this thing right here is the Panasonic XLR adapter, and it works with the GH5 and the GH5S. This thing right here is reason enough to buy the GH5 by itself. Like, I get the best audio I've ever gotten in my life on this thing. This basically means I will use the GH5 as my studio camera from now on. Like, boom, like, done. But I'm looking for a camera that I can take out to do like the vlogging test and the out and about stuff. So I've been using the M50 for that. I've kind of outgrown the M50 for what I want my video to look like. The GH5 is kind of out because I like shooting with different focal lengths, and the second I can't touch the camera anymore, I refuse to use the GH5's autofocus. So as much as I like the GH5, the autofocus is the thing about it. So I don't want to be messing around with a phone app. I don't want to be messing around with the screen and then trying to mess with everything. So if I can't touch the GH5, then I'm not going to use it. So I've been looking for a small camera that I can take with me to do all that stuff. And the RP I thought was going to be like the perfect camera, because the thing that I think the RF lenses, and especially like the RP, what I was most excited about is you could use something like the Sigma 18-35 with the adapter, and they have an adapter that's going to have an ND filter in it. Like, that's awesome. So you're already going to have an adapter. You're not going to need to screw on an ND filter. I hate screwing on ND filters. And you just be able to dial it in, like, right from, basically turning it into like a mini cinema camera, which is really cool. But they're breaking my heart right now. Cheese and Candy at Everyday Dad. Canon's going to drop a bomb once those RF lenses come out. Watch. I've been Canon for over 15 years, and that's how they've always worked. I mean, yeah, their lens technology is fantastic. And unlike Nikon, which I like the Nikon body better, but Nikon's like, oh, we've got these lenses, but okay, we're doing one, we're doing two. Canon's like, hey, here's all the lenses. Do you want lenses? Here's some lenses, right? So here's to the Canon lens ecosystem. I don't know. I don't have the headphones on, so I don't know how long that's going to last. So applause. Their lenses are great. Like, I think they're winning with the lenses, but the RP body itself, I'm gonna be. So let's talk some honesty right now. So again, I like to invest in gear that just works. I like to invest in things that will help my workflow, because we do 4 videos a week. I don't have time for gear that doesn't work. Nothing frustrates me more. So if you just saw my video, was it the A7 III versus the 60 Mark II? Like, the A7 III, since you can't see what you're doing, there's just, I don't know. I think it was user error. It wasn't necessarily the A7 III's fault, but it's still, I had to redo that indoor thing 3 times because the recording like stopped on its own. That's frustrating. And woo, I just like spit all over my iPad. That's gross. But that's frustrating. And it really, really sucks. And something like having a flip screen or having the tally light on the XT3 would fix that. So I invest in gear that works. The only reason I even have the A7 III right now is to make YouTube videos about it. I'm probably going to sell it here pretty soon because I don't use it ever. It just sits right there. Can you guys even see it? No, you can't see it. But it sits right there. It sits right there and just waits for me to make a versus A7 III video about it. And those videos do great. Don't get me wrong. People are still super interested in the A7 III, but I get kind of bleh about it. But what I'm considering is, so if you're new to the channel, welcome to the Everyday Dad. I'm Gary, the slightly neurotic beginner-ish online content creator that loves talking about cameras, whether I know what I'm talking about or not. I certainly like talking about it, and we'll do it on end, a lot. So I've spent the last 2 days. Oh, if you don't know me, I have an obsessive personality, like obsessive personality. Ask my wife. If my wife is still here, if she's still here, if Wonder Wife is still here, she will tell you I have an obsessive personality. Hold on, let's see if we can call her onto the show here. Hold on. If you're Wonder Wife, if you're watching, you're about to get a phone call from me, the Everyday Dad. Hold on. So we're gonna bring her on the show here to ask her if what I'm saying is reality. Hold on. We'll get her. A live call-in. This is something else we're gonna try doing here. Here we go. The crowd is wild. Hello. Hey, thanks for joining us here on the Pillars of Action. Wonder Wife, how you doing?
Hey, good. How are you, honey?
I'm doing excellent. I hope everybody can hear you. Let me know if you guys cannot hear her. So question for you.
Okay.
So we've been together for a while, right?
Quite some time.
Would you agree with me if I said I had an obsessive personality?
Yes.
In
fact, in one of the earlier videos, I said your obsessions become your possessions, and that is true.
Would you care to elaborate?
Whenever you get fixated on something, you not only research it, you watch videos on it, you research it some more.
Maybe make a video about it.
On it. And then you make 45 videos about it after you purchase it, but not before you visit it 3 times at 3 different stores and think about it. Some more.
Okay, so yeah. So for those that were watching, and if you're new here and you didn't know that I have an obsessive personality, here's somebody that has gotten a chance to see it in action for longer than I've had the YouTube channel. So, I mean, I say that to then say that the last 2 days I've spent like on B&H Photo looking at cameras. Because again, I'm looking for a small travel camera. The M50 is just not doing it for me anymore. Hey, what? So now that I've got you on the phone here for a second, okay. How's your day going?
It's going great. I'm having a lot of fun. I can't wait to see you tomorrow.
Oh, is that you trying to hang up from the call?
No.
That sounded like a not so subtle goodbye.
No, I have no idea what you're going to ask me, and you're putting me on the spot, so it makes me nervous.
That makes it exciting. Where are you right now?
I'm at Polaris Fashion Mall in Columbus, Ohio.
Whoa, go Bucks!
With my good friend Michelle. Woo!
Well, you guys are only live. Look, there's only like 5 people here, so don't worry about it.
Oh my!
It's like 5.
Okay.
Okay, well, hey, I know you guys are out having fun. I just wanted to test out to see if this call-in feature worked, and 2, to have some backup to tell everybody that I do have a bit of an obsessive personality.
Yes, of course.
Well,
you absolutely do.
Hold on. Thank you so much for joining us, Everyday Wife. Let's give her a big round of applause.
Crazy.
All right, well, hey, thanks. I'll let you get back to it.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow. I love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye. So I have a bit of an obsessive personality, but when I get something in my head, I can't get it out. So I've spent the last 2 days looking at cameras. I'm like, okay, I know all the recent cameras. I've used them all. What camera can I use to get what I want? And we're talking about the RP, which I was planning on getting, there's a very, very real possibility that I'm going to get another EOS R. Well, maybe not another. Okay, let's turn you off. Maybe not another. Maybe I'm planning on getting my first EOS R. Again, the first one was on loan, but I'm considering it because it does what I needed to do. I don't know. I feel weird. That's why I say they broke my heart. Like, I was planning on getting the RP. Like, the RP was going to be exactly it for what? About a little more than half the price. The lenses were going to be the lenses I wanted. The adapter was going to be the adapter I wanted. And it was all just going to be great. And then it's not. And it like, that's why it breaks my heart. Because I have a need. It was going to fill that need. But now it's not. And that is why my heart is broken. Like, it's just like, I want to like it. Like, I really want to like it. And I know somebody was saying that I'm jumping on the bandwagon here. It's not a bandwagon if there's people. So take me for an example, and the audience I'm trying to reach. So I get a lot of comments like on the videos of, hey, you know, what about this professional spec, or you didn't test this professional thing. Like, I don't care. Like, I get it that there's a lot of professional filmmakers out there that just watch 1,000 YouTube videos, and that's cool, and I appreciate you guys watching. But I'm never going to try to compete in that space, because that's not, you guys have heard me say this before. There's 1,000 experts out there trying to talk to other experts, and they do a much better job than I do explaining pro level features of a camera. What I'm trying to do is show people that are just like me, and they're just regular people that want to start an online journey, or you've already started one and you're looking to upgrade. I'm trying to talk to those people. So I focus on, nobody wants to watch a 30-minute video of me droning on about a spec sheet, or droning on about a physical camera, or droning on about any of that stuff. Nobody wants to watch that. I don't want to watch that. So I try to make as short. They're getting long because there are like things that I'm starting to add to it. But I try to make as short as possible, but give the information of like what the average online content creator would need in a piece of gear, whether that be camera, whether that be blah blah blah, you know, whatever it is. So that's like, I don't even, like, normally she's here to, like, I feel like we've gone off the rails a little bit, but yeah, so those are the specs, and that's what I try to convey. I'm not trying to sell a camera. I'm not trying to talk about a camera to a pro. Like, there's pros out there that know way more than me about cameras, and I love chatting with you about it, but that's not what I'm here for. So that's why I wouldn't say it's a bandwagon. There are those of us that have a need of having a camera that is, like, when you are a pro, I assume, you know, I've never shot video for money besides YouTube. I assume you have time, you have maybe a crew. If you're by yourself, you're probably behind the camera. Whereas those of us that spend all of our time in front of it, we need gear that kind of runs itself. Like, we don't need gear that I have to mess with. Like, if I have to mess with it, that adds friction and that adds time. And when you consider every platform from YouTube to Facebook to Instagram to everything has an algorithm now that rewards consistency of upload and rewards not just consistency, but relevance and timeliness. So the more you can do, the better. And so the more friction is in the workflow, that's a problem. So people have a requirement, they have a need for certain things. Flip screens make life infinitely easier, just so much easier, because you can see what's going on. Like, if you have a flip screen like the GH5, it's awesome. I can see focus, I can see audio, I can see everything I need to see. The Canon M50 is not as good because it's hard to judge. It's hard to judge exposure from like the video, from like the image quality itself. But yeah, there are those of us that have actual needs of our gear, and it's not a bandwagon if everybody has the same need because of the style of content that is, popular right now, where I'm talking at a camera, or it's me trying to make videos of myself. Like, those are things that we need. Hold on, I have not even been in the comments at all. Mark Catardo, imagine if Canon put the RP out like this to generate a buzz, then released a firmware update to make it more practical. I doubt it. I mean, when they, basically, I've never seen Canon, like, again, I've only been in cameras for about 2 years now. I've never seen Canon to release a firmware update that like changes like the internal attributes of the camera. I assume because they're using like a lower end sensor. They are using a better processor like the M50, but I assume the sensor's what's holding them back. They've only got so much processing power inside of the camera itself to do things like dual pixel autofocus, to do things like have the readout on the sensor, to manage heat. So there is, even in a smaller body like that, you start to run into a lot of technical limitations. I don't know that they're like, hey, our camera can do it, we're just not going to let it happen. They just design their cameras to not do things that people want like that. So like, when I'm very impressed with the Nikon Z6, they've released some firmware updates, or there are some firmware updates in the future that will add things like ProRes RAW to an external recorder. They talked about a new face tracking autofocus that they're going to have, like eye autofocus they're bringing to the Z6. Like, I feel like there's companies that build like wiggle room into their camera where they release it without like all of the processor being taken up. Like the GH5 has had like some pretty legitimate firmware updates in its life. The Fuji X-T3 has some planned that basically have turned it into like one camera to the other camera and to a totally different camera. And so I feel like when you release something that's like right at the limitations of what your processor can do, there's not much that you're going to be able to do, which is you know, if that's what you want to design and make, that's fine. It's just, again, it's just I still think there's space out there for somebody. This is a camera for somebody out there. If you want the cheapest full frame camera you can get to put an RF lens on it, this is the way to go. And that's not something small. Like, I can't say like that's a little thing. Like, that is a big deal. Those RF lenses, they're beautiful. They're beautiful. They shoot a great image, and they are the future for Canon. And if you want you can't adapt that to the M50 or the EOS R and the EOS R. The EOS R, like, those are the only ones that have it. And as they release more lenses, this will be a bigger and bigger deal. So yeah, there is value in it. It breaks my heart for my use, unfortunately. Okay, hold on. I have not had a chance to look in the comment. Cheese and Candy, they have the 5D4 with C-Log. That's true, but it's a big old DSLR that doesn't have a flip screen. I would like to try out the 5. I've never tried out a 5D Mark IV. I really liked the 6D Mark II. I really liked it. Like, it's probably the easiest camera I've ever used. And I assume that, again, the RP is probably a lot like the 6D Mark II, where it's just going to be shockingly easy to use. So if you need a mirrorless camera that's tiny and is very easy to use, the RP is probably going to be a good one, unless you need 24 frames per second. Help at home. Hey, Jim, what's up, man? But you got to run. Thanks for coming out. I really appreciate it. Your tech guy, thoughts on the Vixia HFR 800? I don't know a lot about camcorders. I've been trying to. I'm probably going to start using camcorders in the future. Stop doing what you talk into the mic. Am I too far away from the mic? There, we'll bring the mic in a little bit farther. It looks like the audio is pretty good up here, though. Yep, they've got the 5D4. Hold on, I'm just looking for Mark Attardo. Yep, I already said that. If you guys have questions or something, just do an @ half insane outdoor guy. About how much do you save to spend for a camera and lenses? How much do you save to spend reasonably for a camera? How much do I save up to spend? So I have the benefit of having this YouTube channel that generates it has a revenue stream. And I can try out basically all the new cameras without having to invest any money in it. So I just look what will help my workflow, and then I just buy that. Like, when I started out, I had to save a lot more. I used a Lumix G7 for a very long time because I couldn't afford anything better. From there, I went to an A6300 because I needed better autofocus. I am fortunate in what I do with these cameras and stuff. So I personally I'm like, what do I need to make the job happen? Then I invest in that. Because again, the more I make these YouTube videos, we're at over 2 years now. The process is more important than any single piece of gear, right? So I don't look for gear, I look for solutions to a problem now. And I know that sounds crazy as the guy that like switches between cameras all the time, but that's because my process continuously like changes. So my needs change a lot. So I never have a problem with. I've probably lost a lot of money in this over the last year. Like, this is my 5th GH5. Like, I keep buying cameras and I sell them and I'll lose $100 or $200 on the deal, and it sucks. But yeah, don't follow my example at all. But yeah, I look for problems to solutions. I don't necessarily look for a specific piece of gear. That's why I have a Lumix GH5. I'm looking at a Canon camera. I'm not going to stay with like all Lumix. I'm not going to stay with all Nikon unless Nikon. Here's what I would love. While we're doing some speculating, I don't know anything about this, but if Nikon was to release an APS-C Z-mount camera with a flip screen, I would love that. Nikon, please. APS-C, or what do they call it? The FX or the DX? Photo Gear Fun knows this one. Whatever one their crop sensor is, do the crop sensor with the Z-mount, with the flip screen, and their autofocus. That would be one of the best cameras, like, on the market, period. Like, I love the Z6. Okay, yeah, if you guys have questions, super chats or do the ats, because, Kenneth, I was talking, okay, Bushido photo, I have a sick XT3 Ronin S setup wireless lav that I want you all to see. I think Everyday Dad would like it too. That's pretty cool. I do very much like the XT3. Like, that was another one that I actually had in my cart today to buy another XT3 because it has great autofocus. I've got this Shinobi monitor that I think would add a lot to it now that, because you need a monitor that doesn't have a flip screen. That's one of the ones that I'm also considering. Talking to the mic, yeah, I'm working on it. We'll make sure, there we go. I will try to, but it's like too much. If it's too much in my face, here, you guys, hold on. We'll move this back. We'll turn up. There, we'll turn that up to 14. I think we turned it down a second ago. So we will, yeah, the Ninja 5 is amazing. John Durg, will I buy the Samsung Galaxy S10? I may try it. I don't think I'll buy it when all the hype goes away and all the hype dies down. I may ask for a loaner from B&H just to try it out. I really like the S9. The S9 is probably my favorite, like, phone, like, hardware phone, like, that I've ever used. Like, it's incredible. I love the camera. I love the user interface. I love the display is gorgeous. The headphone jack. I really like the S9, but iPhone wins the day because I have an iPad, Apple Watch, iMac, like... I keep with the iPhone just because it works really well together. And since my wife has an iPhone, it lets us FaceTime. So I'd consider it very strongly, but I'll probably try one out, just try it out. Something that I do want to start doing on the channel more is I used to do this more with cell phone comparisons against big cameras. That's something I want to start doing more because I do think that the future of the consumer market is in your pocket. Like, I know I win no friends by saying that, but like I do all of my photography on my cell phone, unless it's for my thumbnails, then it's the GH5. But I do all of my family photography and video on my phone. Like, unless it's like a big thing like Christmas. Like this Christmas, I used the Sony camcorder I had. If I did it right now, I'd use the GH5, just because it has unlimited recording, and that's what I would use the nice camera for. But like for everyday stuff, it's my cell phone. So I do want to start doing more cell phone comparisons. Whoa, Chris, stop turning away from the mic. Well, you guys are like, I'm looking at the chat, and it's on the opposite side of the mic. And if I put it on the other side of the mic, then I won't see it. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to. I'm learning all this stuff at the same time. Whoa, okay, stop doing that thing. Brandon S, Canadian 279, keep up the good work. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I do really like the S9. Like the S9 is my favorite cell phone, like of all time, but that was at a point in the channel where I was, again, I didn't have the revenue, or the fortunate of having the revenue I have now. So I sold it a while ago, but it was by far the favorite camera. The only problem is you had to do, like, there's this weird picture profile added to the S9 if you edit video on a Mac. So you have to go through a process to, like, remove that picture profile, and that was, like, the thing that I did not want. Bushido photo, if cell phones can do real shallow depth of field with mounting external lenses, they will be viable in some situation. They may never have the same sensor. They'll never be able to do like a full frame sensor. But I feel that like their computational stuff is getting close to where it can mimic it. Like, isn't there a phone out now that can mimic shallow depth of field in a cell phone? And it's not like, it's never going to look the same as real bokeh or real like blurry background, but it's going to look good enough. Yeah, I like when I used the Pixel 3, like the Pixel 3 was the first like portrait selfie I ever took with like a phone and then did the fake blurry background. It looks good. And yeah, I've never used a moment lens, but I've seen lots of people use it. Like one of the people that I follow most on like Twitter, he's a photographer. He does like, he has a film company, I think. Patrick Tommaso, I've talked about it before. But he loves those anamorphic lenses, and the stuff that he shoots is gorgeous. So he does a great thing. Whoa, Chris, it's great except when you turn away. Yep, I'm trying. Look, like right here. Like I'm doing my best. Kenneth Duke, you want to hear all the sounds on the soundboard? Okay, so we've got the laugh. We've got the applause. We've got like a wah wah. We've got like a rim, like a, I forget what it's called. That. We've got the scary. We've got the when I make a joke. And then we've got the what I wish the Canon would do and insert a little magic into their lineup. But it's, actually, you can add anything into this soundboard. So it's got like 8 preset buttons, but you can just click and drag like anything. Oh, I'm sorry, I talked away from the mic. You can click and drag anything you want into it. So it's actually it's pretty neat. It's pretty neat. Let us turn down the headphones. I'm guessing everyone here watches Peter McKinnon. Google, yeah, yep. Yeah. So again. I'm seriously, I'm looking for a new camera to do my run and gun stuff. EOS R is very high up there. The RP, I really, really wanted to like it, but I'm not going to spend that kind of money on a camera to not get 4K. You know, a lot of, am I serious about giving away? I'm not giving it away. It's getting sold. It's being given away for money, but not just not given away. The channel's not doing that. The channel's not doing that great. It's not doing that great. But it's, I don't know. We'll try it. I think so. The new camera, hold on. Let's see. What is, so the next like month is going to be real busy with new Canon cameras being released. So I think we're going to try out the A6400 first. Then we'll do the OMD EM1X, which I'm super excited about. Like, that's one of the cameras that I'm most excited about. Then we'll do the RP, right? And then the Panasonic S1. So those are the 4 big ones on the horizon that I'm going to be checking out, that I'm very excited about. Yeah, that's it. Oh, the XT30, but that's not till April. So I'm trying to like make my plan on like which ones to try out and when. But I'm very, very excited for it. I love your deep studio with varying colored lights. Yeah, I don't really, I used to do colored lights in the background, but I stopped doing them because, I don't know, it looked weird. And then when I had the colored lights, sometimes it would cause like these weird like effects where it would like burn the footage almost. So I stopped doing the colored lights. Now I just do this. I don't want to turn away from the mic. I do this lamp. There's a few lights I do there. I'd like to, like, the lighting is something that I want to start messing around with a little bit more in this year. I've got like the big key light right here. It's the Godox 60L, the Godox 60 SLW. I don't remember, but I've got that. I've got like a reflector board here that doesn't work as well as it used to because it used to be like right here. But since I got a wider, I'm trying to get like a wider angle. So that's not the same anymore. But yeah, lighting's something that I would very much like to set the compressor for when you turn away. Hey, I'm going to turn away real quick. Hopefully there's not a monster behind me. There wasn't a monster back there. I do have, well, you mean a headset mic? No, those are not as good. Like, those are not, I just have to, it'll be better when the everyday wife is back and she like forces, so now I've got like all this room, just room to mess everything up. Yeah, just room to mess everything up. So now when she comes back and the mic will be on this side, it'll be on the other side. This is her side. I'm using her her PSA 1 like input because I was doing the videos today, and so I had the camera set up on this one. So, you know, you like the boom mic better? I like how this sounds when it works better. Plus the boom mic, I don't know, it's too far away. It wasn't bad, but I feel like once I get this to work, these aren't necessarily the mics I want to use either. Rode for the Rodecaster they're called the pod mics. Those are the ones that I really wanted, but I almost cursed right there. But who knows when those are coming out? So I got these AT2020s and we'll be using it there. Not messing up with that particular mic as a specific pickup pad if you're not in it. Hopefully I'm in it. I hope that I'm in it. Bushido, what do I think of camera conspiracies? I've been watching that dude since he released his first video. Like I like what he does. I think the dude's funny. I feel like I think he's hilarious. I love watching. I watch all of his videos. My only concern is that the camera space is like a very negative space, like in general. So I always get nervous. I feel like if you watch him just like straight faced, like if you watch him not for like the humor of it, but you watch him like, oh yeah, this camera actually stinks. Then you get like angry people. But for him, I love his content. Yeah, I started watching him when he released his first video about I think I found him because I was looking for videos about the A7 III, and he made that video about the A7 III being like almost the perfect camera. And yeah, I've been watching him since then. Great stuff. I know much more about mics than cameras. Yeah, I don't know. I'm working on both. It's a process on both. I'm in it. Okay, I can't move my head. I can't move my head from here then. What's up, Joe? How much, Carlos Jamel, how much do I pay for a 4K camera? It depends. Like I just paid $100. I just paid $100 for or $100. I guess I didn't pay for it, did I? I cannot, like, the camera from today, like, got in my head because it's just been, like, in the house for 3 or 4 months now, and I forgot about it. I was like, hey, we got to make reviewing the cheapest. Let's give this a shot because it is still the cheapest 4K 60 camera. And I was like, no, wait, I can't. I got to. As I was recording, I was like, no, wait, they sent you this. You didn't just buy this because I buy a lot of stuff, and I forget some of the stuff that I buy. Like, there's just boxes of crap around here that I forget is here. Bertram Photography, well, thanks so much. I do try to be, and that's one of the things about the camera community, right, is camera community, I don't know why, but the camera community is a negative place. I thought, when I first started talking about cameras, I always assumed that, like, the Apple versus Android thing was about as toxic as you could get, or the Xbox versus PlayStation, but man, I was not prepared for cameras. Like, cameras, I forget, but it's just like I read some of the forums, I watch a lot of videos, and I'll look in the comment section. It's like, dang, yo. So I think we need like more positivity about cameras. Nothing these days is that bad. Like even the RP, as much as I wanted out of it, I'm sure it'll still take a good photo. It'll still do a perfectly fine 1080p camera image. Is it what I wanted? No, but am I going to like go on somebody's video that liked it and been like, oh, you're terrible, you're stupid, and the camera's garbage and you're garbage? I get those comments all the time when I'm like, man, this actually isn't that bad. I mean, there's some use for somebody out there. So I think we need more positivity in general. I'm not saying we should lie. Like if the camera stinks, people should say it stinks. And you need to call when something's bad. You need to just call it and say, hey, this is actually bad. But is the universe of cameras ending? No, we've got features on cameras these days that like shock my brain. Like we've got the XT3 for $1,500, 4K 60, legitimate autofocus, like 400 megabits per second codec. Like it's like we have it so good right now in the video community, and it's just we have it so good that we can complain about like the minutia. The minutia, it just like, I don't know. Photo gear fun, I agree. I think there needs to be, like, there's always good and there's bad, but I try to be a positive. I try to be a positive person because it's just like, it's just so, I just don't understand it. I don't get it. AI Restivo, you love the M50. The RP is just an M50 on steroids. That's true, but it's also half the price. I just said that a little bit ago in the stream where I'm like, yeah, it's basically the M50, but with a full frame camera, but it's double the cost. So is that blurrier background and the RF lenses worth it to you? Maybe. Again, like I said, the RF lenses are incredible. Maybe that double the price is worth it if you want to get an RF lens. But again, I'm not spending over $1,000 for a camera that can't do 4K. Cheese and candy, LOL, the community's been ripping on the RP like no tomorrow, but when you make garbage camera and try to charge $1,300 for it, that's what's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Canon has deserved what they get for what they released. Like I'm sure that these leaks were like, leaks have turned into like the way that you release news and you start a buzz. And so I'm assuming that they had part in the leaks coming out, and all of the leaks kind of like they skimped on the video features until like the last second. Like everybody was caught off guard by the 1080p 24 frames per second thing. And we didn't know until like the night before the announcement that it was going to do 4K 24 without dual pixel autofocus. So yeah, I mean, if people want to dog on it, they can dog on it. But I think there could be more positivity because there are going to be people out there that it will work for as a camera. Again, full frame, RF lenses. That's not small. Like that's not small potatoes. That's not small potatoes. Photo gear fun, I agree. You could probably get the same depth of field with a speed booster and be perfectly fine. I still think the M50 is a great camera. I have the Rode Broadcaster. That's a lot of mics. I wanted to get the SM7B for this setup, but those $400 mics might still happen. Might still happen. Maybe the RP will bring everybody in the camera community together. Yeah, and then somebody will make a video about it that it's great, and somebody will make a video about it that it's great, and then the community will tear them apart because it's the camera community. Lisa E, $2. Well, thank you so much. What about today's action camera video? I thought it was a really great video. What about it, Lisa? Yeah, the 7B just sounds good. Everybody that I've heard use it, like I love their audio. It's great. Bushido Photo, I seriously want you to know how much I love your channel. You're fun to watch, great content, good voice, and cool dude. Well, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Here, let's take a step back. We're at like 47. We've got about 15 more minutes. So I'm continuously shocked that people watch my videos. This is just something I do for fun. I've always been a gearhead. Whatever hobby I'm into, I'm just a gearhead. I don't know why it is. Again, obsessive personality. It's easy to obsess over gear. Whether it's mountain biking, video stuff, video games. I obsess over stuff a lot. And cameras, I just enjoy. I basically have the coolest hobby in the world that I get I can use any camera I want, and I get to make videos about it that hopefully, you guys enjoy and people enjoy watching. So it's I still wake up in the morning, and I've gotten way better at this because we're in a pretty big 90-day slump right now, which hurts when you start looking at your analytics every day. But what it's done, what the benefit of it is, I don't look at my analytics as much anymore because they stink. But either way, it's I really enjoy this. I just like cameras, and I like playing with them, and I like making videos about them. So I'm just shocked that people watch, and I still to this day, that's why I start off all of these live streams just showering praise on the patrons, because I love the patrons, and I love that. I cannot believe it. I just can't. So thank you so much. I've got no words. I'm touched that people like it, because I want to make content that works for people, because again, there's a lot of experts talking to experts, and that's great, but it doesn't. You don't always need to know all of the facts and the specs and all that. So I try to think about what I need out of a camera. Since I've been doing this for 2 years now, I try to think what I need out of a camera, and then I try to explain that in a way that, hopefully is fun, exciting, maybe not exciting, but hopefully is fun enough to watch and enjoy. And it's been a great, I cannot believe we're at 65,000 subscribers, and we're still doing it. I love it. I love it. 7B, yep, 7B, probably should get the newly, did we just, yeah. Probably. Yeah, I do want the pod mic. That's probably what we're going to end up getting next, just because I think it works with this way better, and it makes it easier to talk into. Should work for that. That's what mountain bike, cheese and candy. I have a Surly Karate Monkey Ops. So it's the 29er steel, the steel full frame 29er. Yeah, with the gears. It's not the single speed. It's the geared version. That's the Ops. I'm probably going to sell it, though, and get I'm looking at my back. As I get older, a hardtail is just not doing it for me anymore. When I was younger, it was man, I want a hardtail because it just goes fast. But the hardtail's starting to do a number on my back, so I'm probably going to get, I don't want to invest a lot of money in a lot of money. Those bikes are expensive, but I'm probably going to get a giant, what's the Stance? They're entry-level full frame. I'm so used to saying full frame. They're full suspension 27.5 plus bike. That's probably going to be my gift to myself for my birthday this year. Joseph Aquino currently uses a G7. What should I rent for a travel camera? Need good autofocus and audio in. Thought I would do Sony RX until it realized you have no audio in. Maybe I would try out maybe that new Sony A6400. I've heard it has fantastic autofocus. I haven't used it yet, but of what I've read, it has the best autofocus you can get. So pretty excited. Spectre Scully, I started watching due to action cameras. Yeah, I love action cameras. Like, I've told this story before, but so a few years ago, my family we couldn't afford action cameras. Like, I just had a kid. We lived in a very small house. Couldn't afford one, but I did a lot of mountain climbing, and I saw people with them, and I was so jealous of those GoPro Hero 3. I think the Hero 3 had just come out. And I was like, oh, I'm so jealous. I want one of those so bad. Like, my wife even bought me one for my birthday that year. We had to return it because, like, that $400 was, we needed to pay rent. So I love action cameras. So that's why I always have a soft spot, and I try to stick with action cameras too because I love them. Doc Murdoch, are you kidding? We love the entertainment and the info we gain from them. Well, thanks so much. I really appreciate that. HX99 is pretty good. The problem with the HX99 is that tiny sensor, but I think it would be a great travel camera because it has that zoom it's like 270 millimeter range. Well, Utah, of course I love you guys. Of course I love you guys. I love everybody that watches. Like, it's just so incredible. Like, I seriously can't believe it. Lloyd Mendenhall, if you watch analytics all the time, you'll not enjoy doing YouTube. Tell me about it. But I obsess, right? I obsess over my analytics. I obsess over, it's not anything I can help. It's my life. It is my life. Surly Karate Monkey. It's the brand name is Surly. They have weird names for their bikes. So the Karate Monkey, and then Ops is the one it has the gears on it. What's my favorite camera? The Nikon Z6 is my favorite camera, bar none. Like, I love the Z6. Like, it's incredible. I don't have one right now, unfortunately, because I can't afford, I currently have an A7 III, I have a GH5, I have the M50, I have an RX100 Mark V. I can't afford everything. But if I could have just one camera, if I could have a company send me my favorite camera, it would be the Nikon Z6. I love that thing. What do we got? Photo Gear Fun. I love my Specialized mountain bike. I had a Specialized road bike for a while. I was doing a lot of triathlons a couple years ago. Obsessing over gear. I used to obsess over triathlon gear all the time. And I just Specialized. It was a road bike, but I can't remember the name of it, but it was a fantastic bike. I did my first 3 triathlons in it. It was awesome. Paul Detoy, I hope I said it right. Jay Santiago, $5. Well, thanks so much. When I grow up, I want to be just like you. I'm 50. Please keep up the great content. Best mirrorless camera choice for video, 120 frames per second at 4K. There's not very many cameras that can do that, but 1080p. Are you looking for a budget, or if your budget is unlimited, the full frame 120 frames per second coming out of the Nikon Z6 is amazing. The X-T3 also does 1080p at 120 frames per second, which is awesome. The GH5 does 1080p at 180 frames per second, which I really like. Almost every camera released, not the EOS R. The EOS R does 720p and 120 frames per second, so I would not recommend that. Enjoying your content the way you do, Paul. Enjoying the content, the honest reviews. How did the Everyday Dad come to be? I sat down one day. I said, I'm going to make a YouTube. I watched a video about a 3D printer, and I said, you know what? I can do that. And that's where the if I can figure it out, you can figure it out thing came up. And I just started making YouTube videos, and about 2 years later, here we are. Thanks again. Keep up the grid. Well, thank you so much. I don't consider what I do reviews, right? So just so you guys are aware, and I know I've talked about this before, but if you're new, I don't consider what I do reviews. I consider reviews something that like DP Review does, where they take pictures of the charts and they do all that stuff. I considered maybe review in progress, or I make impressions videos, because I consider a review to be something that goes through all the specs, does again the chart test, maybe does some more elaborate tests. I just try to give an overview of a regular person using the camera. So I'm very cautious to call what I do reviews, because I feel like that's not a true statement. A review is a little more in depth than what I do. Not to denigrate what I do. I love what I do, and I think there's value in it, or I wouldn't do it. But I don't consider them to be reviews. Just, I don't know. Maybe it's a semantics thing, and it doesn't matter. But I don't know. Specs are for techies. We want action. Danielle, if you had to pick, I'm sorry, it's usually easier for me to see this. I don't know why my eyes are so blurry today. If you had to pick one manufacturer ecosystem for all your video production, what would you pick? Ooh, that's a tough one. Probably go Panasonic just because the GH5 is like, I do everything with the GH5, but it doesn't. If I could just have a GH5 with phase detection autofocus, I would spend lots of money on it. Like, I would spend a crap ton of money on it because it would just be great. That's why I was so heartbroken when the S1 and the S1R continue to have contrast autofocus. I mean, I'll try it out. They say it's better, so I'll try it out, and hopefully it's better. If it is better, that's going to complicate things, and maybe I'll have to get an S1. But yeah, so it, like, as much as I Panasonic, just Panasonic, because yeah, I would like to say Nikon, and if Nikon again they do that APS-C Z mount thing, that would be incredible. But yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Diet Coke and pizza. That is what we've been living on. The wife's not watching anymore, right? If she's watching, we've been eating lots of healthy vegetables, and we haven't been playing video games for she's been gone for 2 days. We haven't been playing video games for 2.5 days straight. We've been getting lots of exercise. We've been going outside and eating lots of vegetables. Is she gone? Is she gone? Okay, I don't think she's here. Yeah, we've been playing video games and eating pizza, and we had Chipotle for lunch, and we saw the Lego Movie 2, which, the Lego Movie 2... Okay, so we're off topic of cameras. We're at an hour. I'm just going to go off topic for a little bit. Unless you have a question. If you have a question about cameras or something to continue to do at the Everyday Dad or Super Chats or something like that. But we're going to go off topic for a minute. Hold on. Past records. What's my favorite action camera so far at the Everyday Dad? The GoPro Hero 7 Black. The GoPro Hero 7 Black is the best action camera ever made. Like, it's not even close. Like, the GoPro Hero 7 Black is my favorite. Like, again, I almost said it again. It's so good. Bushido Photo, $5. Well, thank you so much. I hope this helps you in some way. Buy lunch or something. I'd pay anything. Keep your channel going. Fun and seat jumps are the best. Well, thank you so much. I catch a lot of flack for those transitions, but it's like my thing. I also could do like any number of transitions. I used to just cut, but I like the jumping thing. I don't know. I like it. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. So we went and saw the Lego Movie 2. Now, the Lego Movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. So the Lego Movie, when it initially, the everyday kid was like 2. He was 1 or 2 at the time, like very small. And I saw the Lego Movie, and if spoiler alerts for the Lego Movie, if you have not had a chance to see it yet, if you haven't had the chance to see the Lego Movie, I'm going to spoil it in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So when you watch the movie and you find out that like the driving force of evil throughout the whole, like the evil they've been fighting the whole time was like the kid's relationship with his dad, I started bawling my eyes out. Like my son was just like 1. Like I still, like, I assume most dads, like, you're just like, I love the kids so much. And like the fact that the evil that they've been fighting the whole video was like his relationship with his dad, I bawled. I started just started weeping. Like, I couldn't even help it. Even when I watch it now, it still gets me. And so we went and watched the Lego Movie 2, and the Lego Movie 2 is a different, I won't spoil it for you, but there is an overarching like relationship that causes the conflict, but it's not like father-son. So it's touching. It was a great movie. I enjoyed it, except we got like there at the last minute and had seats in the front row. So I'm like, wow, this movie's super comfortable. It's super uncomfortable. But I loved the first one. It just like the relationship between the dad and the son, just, it got to me. Like I cried so much. But the Lego Movie 2 was pretty good. It was pretty good. Cardoso Media, Canon let me down with the RP. Yeah, it really stunk. It really stunk. I considered getting the A6400, but I probably won't get the A6400 either. It's really coming down to an XT3 or an EOS R. Like, I've got a lot of stuff to trade in. I may just take this stuff on Monday to my local camera store, trade it in, and then just buy an EOS R. I already have the adapter. I already have the Sigma 18-35. That'll just probably be what I do. Yeah, I'm going to get the song from that great motion picture. I'm sorry, I always go with the black. Yeah, the Hero 7 silver and white are garbage. Clayton Shelby, my boys are watching Lego Movie on TV right now. I love it. Like the songs too. Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of demonetized. Everything is awesome when you copyright claim. Photo Gear Fun. I know you don't watch a ton of YouTube, but who are my favorite reviewers? Number one, iPhondo. iPhondo is really, I love iPhondo's content. He's probably the best tech reviewer on YouTube. Like, legitimate, his stuff is the best. Like, there's nobody comes close. Like, he is, like, I saw, like, some of his Twitter behind the scenes stuff from his A6400 video, and it was only like a 5-second shot in the beginning, but he did stop motion for that, where he did like 100 things of the thing going up and down. That's dedication. Like that, I think he's the best. By far, he's the best. Turn the label around when consuming. Oh, I'm sorry. But yeah, he is by far the best. Who else do I like? I don't watch a lot. I tried, since I've started making reviews, I found in the beginning when I watched a lot of like other reviewers, I would find that maybe subconsciously or maybe just I'm like, hey, I like what they said. I will say the same thing. So I try not to watch too much other stuff now because I don't want it to like seep into what I'm going to end up saying. Ooh, Chris and Jordan from DP Review. Jordan is my favorite videographer on the platform. If iPhondo is my favorite like tech reviewer, Jordan Drake from DP Review TV is my favorite videographer on the platform. That dude is awesome. I love they're my favorite camera channel. When they I'm glad, I feel bad for the TCS TV because they lost two of the best personalities on YouTube. Like, they're my favorite. Who was? I don't really watch any. I interact with a bunch of them. Like, my favorite creators to interact with, I interact with almost all of them anymore on like Twitter. I've chatted with iPhondo. I chat with Jordan Drake. Caleb Pike. I chat with him. The guys from Kinatika. Like I interact with a lot more people on Twitter than I do like watching their content anymore. But I find that the camera reviewers they're a pretty awesome crew. It's the viewers sometimes can be a grumpy sort. A grumpy sort. What do we got? Past records. What's the microphone and headphones I'm using right now? I'm currently using, what is this? This is a Yamaha. This is a Yamaha something. It costs about $100. I don't remember the model. If you find Yamaha studio headphones for about $100, it's these ones. And then this is the Audio Technica 2020. This microphone I've been using for a year and a half now. I got my wife the exact same one. Maybe this is hers. I don't know. I have two of these, the AT 2020s, because they're really great. Well, Chris Kamek Conspiracies is one of yours. Yeah, but I don't consider him a reviewer though. I love watching his content. His stuff is hilarious. Like he's one of the few channels that gets me to laugh like every single time. MKBHD, yeah, I never watch his stuff. I've seen a few of his videos. I think I watched his DJI Spark video. Was that like 2 years ago? I watched that, and I think he does good stuff. I don't really watch a lot of tech reviewers, if that makes sense. I'm not a tech head. I don't like obsess over computers and laptops and cell phones. I really like camera. I don't know. Like, I do obsess over cameras. I can't say I don't do that. But I don't know. I don't really watch a lot of tech. I don't watch a lot of tech. I don't watch a lot of YouTube that much anymore. Actually, I did start watching YouTube a little more like when I'm running. There's this new channel. I found this new channel and it's dumb. He's a gamer. What's his name? It's not child friendly. What is it? It's Indie Mouse. Indie Mouse. He makes like these it's like let's plays, but it's like he plays through a video game with like commentary and he edits it like he's gotten me to legitimately laugh a few times. And I started playing video games a little more recently, whereas I back off of analytics and try to take more me time. Like the Everyday Kid and I just finished off. What game did we just finish off? We just finished off. I totally just brain farted, but yeah, good stuff. Past records, which do I like better, Mac or Windows? I like Mac way more. 7-Star Media, hey, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. XT30, I'm pretty excited to try it out. You don't need to comment that much. But yeah, it's pretty good. What do I think about the OSRP? I think it will work for somebody. It won't work for me, and it breaks my heart that they don't have dual pixel autofocus in 4K. And for those that like 24 frames per second, I don't understand not having it in 1080p. Like, I legitimately do not understand where you're like, we're going to have 1080p, but we're not going to have 24 frames per second. Like, I don't shoot in 24 frames per second, so it's not a deal breaker for me, but like, why? Why? I just do not get that at all. Ryan Del Vecchio, speaking of Panasonic, just got the G85 and trying to start a freelance business, wedding promos, music videos. Any tips? Love your channel. Well, thanks so much. I've never done that stuff, but my tip for you would be, if you get on Twitter at all, follow a person. His name's Patrick Tommaso, and he does all that stuff, and he uses Panasonic cameras, and his stuff is fantastic. Hold on, let me find his @ and then I'm going to type it in the thing here, because if you want to do that stuff, I highly recommend his stuff, because he's always releasing. It's hold on, I'm going to @ him. This is my, hold on, chat publicly. This is my suggestion if you're trying to get into that, is I'm Pat Rick T. Follow this person on Twitter. That's my suggestion. That guy makes beautiful stuff, and he has a business that does that stuff. I don't know if he does consulting or anything like that, but I see him answer a lot of questions on Twitter. John Durgas, probably that. It's probably that. Hold on, I'm missing a lot of stuff. Yeah. Oh, we are past an hour. Yeah, we'll go for a little bit longer because Everyday Wife's not here. I've got nothing better to do. What do I think about the Canon PowerShot? I've never used a Canon PowerShot. I have no frame of reference for those. I'm sorry. Hey, I'm new. Well, thanks for joining us, Blue Electrical. Oh, yeah, John Dirk, thank you. Thank you, yeah, I assume it's something like that. Blue Electrical, $10. Hey, I am a YouTube. Can you help me out? Well, thanks so much for the super chat. What, do you have a specific question? I'd love to answer a specific question. I don't know what I can. You're welcome? Yeah, it's just, if you have a question, just leave the question. Leave the question below. Cardoso Media, all I ask is 4K 30 frames per second with good autofocus. That's all that I want. Like, all I want is good autofocus with 4K 30 and a flip screen. That's why I'm so excited about the OMD EM1X, is it should have all that stuff with fantastic stabilization. Like, it should be a great camera. Like, that, I'm super excited for it. I know people are going to, it's very expensive. Oh, it's eye-wateringly expensive. But it would be, I'm actually kind of excited. And a mic jack. Thank you, Kenneth. Yes, a mic jack. Etienne, I have a budget of $1,500 for a new camera. I'm now with the 700D, but there's no 60p in full HD. And it's a deal breaker for me. I do videos and a little bit of photos. $1,500 for a new camera. Does that include the lens? If that includes the lens, I would wait for this XT30 or the Sony a6400. I do think that the body, again, as somebody that talks about bodies a lot, I get the irony, or you want to invest more in like the surrounding stuff than you do necessarily the body. So save money on the body if you can. Get like the XT30, the A6400. Get lights, audio, and lenses. Those will do more for you than anything else. Hold on, let me. Blue Electrical. Oh no, Blue Electrical. I saw your thing where you said, hold on. Blue, send that again. You got auto hidden in the thing, but I saw your question. You did a super chat. Do your question again, and I'll get to it. I can't see it now, but do it again, Blue Electrical. Yeah, it looks heavy, but it should have fantastic stabilization, which is a good thing. We should, overdo the weight. But sometimes weight is a good thing, though, right? So if you look at like the 60 Mark II that I did the video about, it has no in-body image stabilization. But I think the stabilization looked better than the stabilization on the A7 III because it's heavier. Like, if you like super light cameras, they get like the shake of your hands. Like, I'm super caffeinated, as we can see. That transfers into the camera. So a little bit heavier is not bad when it comes to stabilization, but it does stink when you gotta carry it. Whoa, Chris. Oh yeah, he did say what camera should you buy. Well, it just depends on. It depends on what. It depends on your budget. If you're just brand new and you're looking for your first camera, I'd say the Lumix G7 if you want good 4K, or the Canon M50 if you want good autofocus and 1080p. Those are the two I would recommend. If you have more of a budget, leave a comment and we can talk more about that. But when I talk about budget stuff, I generally will recommend either the Lumix G7 or the Canon M50. It's plugged. You should do a Canon SL1 reviewing the cheapest. I might do that. Past records, what is the best camera you think you can use for vlogging? Something with good stabilization. I find that stabilization is more important than probably. I know people use Canon cameras a lot, but I just like the vlogging with the Canon camera. Maybe, I don't know. Like, I don't do a lot of vlogging. I only do the vlogging test in the videos just because it's like a way to do a out in reality, test, video test, so people can see what happens when you're using the camera to have it in front of you. I don't ever really vlog, but I would say the M50 is a pretty good one to go with as a first vlogging camera. But the G85 has good stabilization. If you get the kit lens with it, you'll be close enough that you can do the manual focus with the screen. But I wouldn't use a Lumix camera with the autofocus. Hey, Bill, I get it. But he did a super chat, so he did whoa, Chris. So if I get it, Blue Electrical, normally we don't, let people ask for subs. He did a super chat. He's asking a question. I'm fine with in that circumstance. So Blue Electrical, how about under 350? If you're going to try to go under 350, I would stick with your cell phone and then invest in others. So like I said, the body's not necessarily the most important part. It's the accessories around it. So it's the lighting, it's the audio, it's the lenses. For 350, I would probably stick with it. If you have a cell phone, if you don't have a cell phone, I would save up more. At least get the SL2. The SL2 is the lowest I would go. You can get one of those for $400 with the kit lens, and it has good autofocus. It's got the flip screen and the mic in jack. That's probably the lowest. Because if you go lower than, there are cameras out there for lower than that, but you're probably throwing your money away where you're not actually getting anything value. You got to think you don't just want to spend the least amount. You want to get the value out of it. So 350 is kind of a low amount. Kind of a low amount. Etienne, I want to invest his lenses. I'm currently with an APS-C camera. I'm looking for the Sigma 18 to 35. I don't really recommend the Sigma 18 to 35 to most people because it's really as much as everybody's it's the best lens ever, it is a niche lens. Hold on. So I do have one just because I kind of bought into the hype in it. I mean, it does okay, especially if you're just going to do studio stuff. This is the Sigma 18 to 35, and it is heavy. This is one of the heaviest lenses I use. This is heavier than the Nikon full frame 24 to 70. It's probably a little bit heavier than the 24 to 105 Canon lens. It's not that expensive as far as lenses go, and it is a zoom constant 1.8, which is great. But I don't really recommend. It's heavy. The autofocus motors they just make some noise. They grind a lot. So it's a good lens, but I rarely recommend it though, because it's just it's good, but it's old technology, right? Cardoso Media, if I had to choose one lens for cinematic video, I would choose my Lumix 12 to 60 2.8 to f4. That's the equivalent of a 24 to 120, and then you can X-Tele zoom a little bit more. It gives you huge range. It works really well in low light. It's not this one. This is the 25mm 1.7. But it's got a really close focusing distance length. It's got the dual IS, so if you're using a Panasonic camera, it's got great stabilization. It's one of my favorite lenses. Got to run a great show tonight. Well, thanks so much, Photo Gear Fun. I really appreciate it. Lloyd Mendenhall, hey, thanks, man. Thanks for coming out. Yeah, the Sigma, I mean, it's not a bad lens. It's heavy, and the autofocus is rough. Al Restivo, do you think the Canon 60 Mark II is better than the EOS RP? I haven't used the RP yet. I will use it when it comes out, and I'll give more of a perspective on it. If it does the same, it's basically just like a mirrorless version of the 60 Mark II, but smaller, lighter, same video specs. Maybe it's better. We'll see. But it does give you access to the RF lenses, which could be, fantastic. John Durg, I've never used Filmora for editing. Kid Gamer 120, I still wonder why somebody disliked this video. Look, you could put the cure for cancer in a YouTube video and people would still dislike it. It just happens. FunnelFest A7 III or Panasonic G6. I've never used a Panasonic G6, but I assume the A7 III does. I assume the A7 III does. It appears the same sensor, but yeah. What? Oh. Doc Murdoch, can you explain more on how the f-stop affects the video and lighting? So the f-stop is basically just, how wide open the aperture is on the lens. So the lower the number, the wider open the lens is and the more light it lets in. But also a side benefit is the shallower depth of field you get, the lower the f-stop is. So if you're like at a 1.7, like right now, I can have this light on at like 32%. We're at ISO 200. It lets you get the little bit blurry background. And then the higher it is, the more of a depth of field you have. Plus you'll need like either more light, or you're trying to you're outdoors in bright daylight and you're trying to bring your exposure down because you've already dropped your ISO as far as possible. Sometimes some lenses get sharper the more you stop them down. Or the higher the f-stop rating gets. So the lower the f-stop rating, the lower the f-stop number, the more light is being let into the sensor. Just the quick. 7-star media, which one is best for YouTube content, Canon M50 or 80D? They're going to be very similar. Honestly, they're going to be very similar image quality. I'd probably go with the M50 because it's smaller. Like the 80D is fine, but it's a big camera. When I did the videos on the 80D a couple months ago, I am surprised. It's an APS-C camera, but it's like the size of a full-frame camera. It's a huge body. It's a big old boy. When I post YouTube videos, it's more for me than anyone else. That's pretty much what I do too, but people have started to watch them. Funnel Fest, I meant, which has the better, faster autofocus between the A7 III and the Nikon Z6? They're both pretty. I know, again, I just use it for very specific purposes. For me, I've never had an issue with either. I don't know which one's faster. They both work perfectly well. They both work perfectly well in my book. I like the ability of the Nikon Z6 that you can manually focus a lens while it's doing continuous autofocus. You don't have to flip it into manual focus mode to manual focus. So if you're trying to do something, but it's just it's too far out, it's too the depth of field is too shallow for it to the tap on screen thing to work. You can manually focus it and then tap on it. That works really well. I like the screen better on the Z6, which helps for focusing. They both autofocus pretty similar for both. I don't use the eye autofocus, but right now the A7 III has that eye autofocus for stills, whereas the Z6 doesn't yet. They're supposed to be adding it in a firmware update in the future. I think it's in May they're adding that. Hold on, there we go. Kid Gamer, my favorite camera is the Nikon Z6. Trev B, do I have any opinions on the Panasonic Lumix FZ cameras? I've never used it before. I can't say either way. Tori Bisnet, whoa, we are at 9:20, so we'll do 10 more minutes, and then we're going to call it, because I'm going to go to bed, because I'm an old man, and it is past my bedtime. Tony Bisnet, let's try this again. Sorry to repeat. Thoughts on the Sony HX99 for YouTube car drag racing channel. Currently using GoPros. I need a good zoom for down-the-track boards. Yeah, if you're going to use it outside, I would say the HX99 is perfectly fine. It's an outdoor camera. If you're going to use it at night, though, I don't know how lit are the tracks. You're going to need a lot of light for that little sensor to look, the best it can be. Because it's also it's a 2.8 at the widest, if I remember correctly. So you're going to need lots of light. But if you do it outdoors, I think that would be a fantastic camera. Say it taint. Jake, should I buy Sony a6400 as a beginner? I mean, sure. It looks like a great camera. It's if your budget can afford it. I use an a6300 as a beginner, and it's basically just like an upgraded version of the a6400. You will have some pretty bad rolling shutter. You will not have any stabilization. That's pretty much it. If you can live with those two, I think it would be a totally fine camera. Nicholas, is the A6000 still worth it in 2019? I did a video if it's still worth it in 2018 last summer, and I thought it was a pretty good for the ridiculously low prices you can get it with. It gets you access to. It's got phase detection autofocus, which is pretty good. It doesn't have an audio in jack, if I remember correctly, which is a pretty big downer. But it's got good autofocus. It gets you into the Sony E mount. Pretty good colors. The A6000 is one of the most popular cameras of all time. I think it's still one of the top selling cameras. So it works pretty well. Hey, any must-have lenses for the GH5? This is what I consider to be the must-have lens for the GH5, the 12 to 60 2.8 to f4. I know a lot of people like the 12 to 35, but the stop of light that you lose on this is not that big of a deal, especially on a micro four thirds sensor. But the zoom reach is way more important for me. Whoa, Chris with Sony took the A5100 and yep, pretty much. Okay. All right. Well, hey everybody, thanks for joining us. I think I'm gonna take a break. I'm exhausted. I've been yapping for normally I have my co-host to help yap a little bit, but I've been yapping straight for almost an hour and a half. So I'm going to bed. Thanks everybody for joining us for this week's Pillars of Action. Again, thanks to all the patrons. Thanks to all the super chats. Thanks to everybody that watches. I do love all of you guys, and I do really appreciate it. I love everybody that watches. Thanks so much, and we will catch you next week, and I'm going to play myself off with a little bit of music. See you guys next week.